So welcome everybody. My name is Daniel Dalala. So I'm a program manager on Dynamics 365, and I have with me.
Hi, I'm Miriam, also program manager on Dynamics 365 Sales.
Perfect. So today we wanted to talk to you about Dynamics 365 Sales and Sales Insights. But before we get into the product per se, I always think it's important to take a step back and think about why we're doing the things that we're doing and set some context. And as context, something that if you've been following our product for a little while, you'll know about something that we've been talking about is the fact that a lot of these industries are really in transition. Every industry is actually in transition. And there's this digital disruption, and it's real. It's happening across these industries, and organizations have to react and actually have to reinvent themselves and reimagine themselves. And that reimagination is not just about the products. It's actually the way that you do business, the way that you run your processes, and also the way that you interact and engage with your customers. And so at Microsoft, we came up with this digital feedback loop. And the way that we see it is really across these four blades where we believe that organizations should focus their energy into rethinking the way that they transform themselves. And at the center of this transformation, and something you'll probably hear a lot about, is really data. And data is always at the center of this digital transformation. And once we capture that data, unify that data, then we can reason over it, and then we can act over it, and then we can be a lot more successful going forward. So when we're looking at this digital transformation, specifically, we're going to focus on this blade, which generally has been considered the customer engagement blade, which is how do you interact with your customers? How do you identify your customers? How do you engage, and how do you create a personal relationship? And we're going to focus today specifically on sales. And hence, why today we're going to talk to you about sales and sales insights. So one thing I do want to mention is that today's conversation is more going to be about so we actually have two sessions. So we have today's session, and there is another session tomorrow called Building the Future of Sales. In today's session, we're actually going to look more at the user experiences for your users. Tomorrow, we're going to deep dive a little bit more into certain capabilities and have a little bit some demos and explain some of the intricacies of these capabilities. So before we start, out of a showing of hands, who is actually currently a Dynamics 365 sales customer? All right, perfect. Who is not and is trying to learn about the product? OK, a few customers. And what about Dynamics 365 Sales Insights? Do we have any customers? All right, and who wants to learn more about Dynamics 365 Sales Insights? All right, perfect. So today's section, I'm going to set the stage a little bit. So today what we're really going to do is give you an overview of the capabilities that were recently released. So we're not going to go from start to end over what the whole product can do. I do have a slide maybe to summarize what it is, but we wanted to focus on where our areas of investments are for the next releases. And so that way you are more familiar of where we're heading. But also, you'll be familiar with some of the new capabilities that will be available in your organization, in your environment. If anything, there probably already are. So the way that we're going to approach this is our agenda is we're going to talk about just the challenges in general of sales automation, what we see as an opportunity, and finally go through each step in the sales process and explain how we're optimizing those processes through the investment that we've made in these stages. So first, what is the current problem? So I think there's been these recent reports have highlighted the fact that sellers are spending way too much time updating their CRM. And I think we could attest that in every organization this happens. And what results out of this is really two problems. First, there's a huge opportunity cost. Every minute that you're spending updating your CRM or your Dynamics 365 sales is a minute that you're not spending selling. And that's a big issue. Now, the second thing is that it's also, it adds some friction. So specifically for your sellers and people in your organization, as they have to enter this information manually, sometimes they get frustrated. And when you're frustrated, you don't do things the way that you're supposed to do. So this leads to bad data. And bad data in the system is actually horrible for your organization because you can't report on it, you can't actually improve your processes, and it leads to a lot of problems. And so at the same time, while your sellers are being told to input data into the system, they're also being pressured to increase their outputs. So that means they're being pressured to reach out to more customers and make sure that they meet their quotas. And by reaching out to their customers, they're transforming their customers into just checklists. And they're actually not engaging with them. And what we've seen is that this leads to the buyers actually feeling that the sellers are not understanding their problems. And the reason they're not understanding their problems is because they just want to get through to the next one and ensure that they meet their quotas. So in essence, really, it's not just about productivity, right? When you have a sales organization, it's not about making sure that they could get things done faster, but also providing them proactive information, proactive insights, and next best action for them to do the job correctly so that they can also create relationships with your sellers and improve their win rates. So how are we going to unlock that value at Dynamics? So what we see really is that across organizations, there's really, I think, 4 main areas that we can focus on. Whether it's the first is about prospecting, identifying the right people, engaging with them. Then after that, you want to be able to be more productive on those deals as you're collaborating with your team. And finally, measuring that performance so you can feed that back into your processes. And once you've optimized these areas, actually you start gaining that business value, right? So now, as I mentioned before, you can increase your win rates. And where we see a huge differentiator, where we see where we can bring value to you, our customers, is going back to what I mentioned before, the data itself. And if the data in CRM is siloed, then you're not getting a full picture of your interaction with your customers. And so at Dynamics, we're looking at how we can merge both CRM data, LinkedIn data, and exchange data together to give you that holistic view of your customer. So we've already released a whole set of capabilities that allow our customers to do so. So Dynamics is a full-featured product already as is. So with Dynamics, you can create business process flows to guide your sellers through their sales. You can create a new concept of playbooks that allow them at the right moment in time to know the specific tasks that they should be executing on. They can obviously do opportunity and lead management. You can also get them to do reporting using Power BI. So there's a whole set of capabilities that allow organizations currently to be successful on Dynamics. As an example, HP is one of our customers, that is currently using Microsoft Dynamics with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And they've been incredibly happy with the integration of these two services. So where are we investing in the product? So how are we thinking about this? So really, I think one of the problems that I mentioned is really, in the end, your users, your sellers. If they are not using the system the way that you're expecting, then obviously it will lead to bad data and bad outcomes. So we have to think about the end users. And to be able to increase the usage, we really believe that there's 3 things that have to occur. First, the system itself. I mean, the way that they interact should be frictionless in some way. The usability, it should be intuitive. It should be reliable. It should be performance. So when your sellers want to add data, they can do it and not be really upset by doing it. So we have some investments there. Also, there's a lot of data that is repetitive. And so this creates a lot of friction of having to copy and paste activity data that is in one node back into CRM for context, or emails, having to track them, et cetera. So there has to be a way to frictionlessly add data back into the CRM to provide that context. And the third thing that really provides that value, that usage, that increases that usage, is the value. If your sellers are not seeing personal value, then they will not use it, right? Because then it's just a waste of time. And as we said before, it's time that they could be spent selling and meeting their quotas. So these are things that we are targeting during this release and during the next ones. The other things is processes. Obviously, every organization has specific process, specific areas within your sales cycle that make you unique. And this is where we also believe that we have strengths. So the first one is guided selling. So I spoke about business process flows. We have the concept of playbooks. We also have Power Automate. So we have these capabilities of really automating and guiding sellers towards the desired outcome. So we're going to keep making investments there. The other thing is relationship selling. So as I mentioned before, it's important to create that personalized relationship. And what better way than to leverage LinkedIn? And so we're going to keep making investments there. Productivity. I think productivity is our bread and butter. So in the end, at Microsoft, really, we're trying to make your sellers, your users, your organization a lot more productive, so it takes less time to go through an opportunity. So again, there's a lot of investments that we're going to keep doing around productivity. And finally, here it's around performance. So how do you, once you have all these processes in place, how do you get the information that you need to feed that back into your processes and make and improve them? So we need to be able to measure performance. And finally, we're investing in our ecosystem. So at Microsoft, we're never going to solve every problem for every organization. So we have some great, tremendous partners and ISVs who are able to extend their system to solve your specific business problem. And that's what we're going to invest in. OK. Now, the other thing about these investments is they happen at every point in the sales cycle. So they happen while you're prospecting. They occur while you're engaging with your customer. They occur while you're measuring performance and while you're doing your analytics and reports. So it's important to understand how these investments fit in. But second, the other part of it is you have different people across these different cycles, different stages. You have your end sellers who really care about meeting your quotas. Maybe your inside sellers who have a different incentive. They just want to get through their list of contacts that they have to call through. You have your sales operations who are looking at how they can improve the sales process and use the tools within Dynamics to do so. And also you have your sales managers who are responsible both for their team and making sure their team is successful, but also for their business and ensuring their business is successful. So across all of these, we have kind of a matrix type of setup here where there's different skill set, different incentives at every single point in the sales process. And so how we're organizing today, we're basically going to go feature by feature and identify for each capability how it's helping a specific persona at a specific moment in the sales cycle. So just as an overview of all the capabilities that we're going to talk about today, if we simplify that sales cycle, we're talking about from getting leads to qualifying those leads to developing the leads, proposing, and finally closing it and being successful. And across all these stages, in this latest release, we've basically identified key capabilities that allow our sellers, allow our customers to be more successful. And if I'm going to be transparent, a lot of these have come through a lot of customer feedback. So during the last release, it has really been about talking to our customers like yourselves, to understand exactly what are some of the pain points that you're having in using our product to make sure that you're being successful. All right, so the first part of it is really, as I mentioned, the user experience itself. I think what you'll notice is, especially as we're investing more for those who are familiar with Dynamics into our unified client, we're listening to that feedback so that your users, when they're using that new client, can use it in a way that's much more enjoyable. So some of the key things that are benefiting some of sellers are the ability to view a grid with all that information. So that grid has been optimized to be a lot more user-friendly. The same thing, if you look at a form, there was a lot of white space at the top of the header. And again, this was causing people not to see the information that they needed to see. The timeline control was an incredibly important control, because this is where you're getting all of the historic of your activities with an individual, with your potential customer. And so we've heard that feedback that it hasn't been meeting the requirements. So we made some investments there to bring in more icons and more filtering options. And we've also added other capabilities as well. And as you see over time, the unified client is going to keep getting those investments that come directly from the feedback that you've provided. And so these benefit not just sellers, they benefit managers, and they benefit basically your organization across that whole sales process. Now let's talk about lead prospecting. So while you're prospecting lead, what are some things that would improve the experience? Well, one thing that we've been hearing, especially when we're at a conference like today, hey, I just met somebody, and now I have to add them as a lead to our CRM. They gave me their contact card. Well, now I have to reproduce it, open my Dynamics. Maybe I'm not a fan of the mobile app, so I have to wait until I'm back at the office or back at the hotel. Maybe I lost a few of those business cards. So it's a very tedious process. And specifically now, as we're investing more in these AI capabilities, and this is backed by, if you heard some of our keynotes, by AI Builder, we're able to ingest this directly into the experience so that your sellers, as they're creating new leads, can use the business card scan to automatically populate fields. So let me show you an example of how that works. So if here I'm on, is it playing? I got it. There we go. So if I go to a lead, now I can directly upload it from my phone. And as you see, as soon as it was uploaded, the information was automatically captured. Now when I go to the contact and I reach out for my name, the information is there. I know this was a very fast demo, but it was meant to showcase how easy it is to actually extract the information. The information is highly relevant as well and highly accurate. So another capability, and this comes from feedback. It's auto-populating of fields in the lead form. So what we've heard from customers is, specifically, sometimes you're actually selling to a contact that you've already sold to, or an organization that you've already sold to, and yet you have to replicate that information over and over again as you're creating lead. So this may seem like a small capability, but it really is sometimes about like death by 1,000 cuts. And let me just go through an example of what that means. So when you are on a lead, let me play it. So when you are creating a brand new lead, I want you to quickly pay attention. I'm going to add an existing contact. As soon as I add the existing contacts, you'll notice the fields behind in the originating lead have been completed in both the contact session and in the company section. And now, obviously, when I qualify the lead, then it's back into our CRM. Now let's go to lead qualification. So what are we doing in the lead qualification stage? So evidently, as I spoke about previously, we're going to do continuous investment with LinkedIn. So we're always looking for ways to improve the experience with LinkedIn, specifically around tracking job changes. So although we're not pulling information from LinkedIn, we're giving you the ability to actually to set a field that informs you whether or not a contact has changed jobs at LinkedIn. So at that point, you can always double check your list, create a view, and that will inform you of who has changed job from the last time. Another thing is activities. So as you want to send an in-mail directly to an individual, you can do so now directly from Dynamics. So if you have LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Dynamics, you can do an in-mail directly as an activity. And finally, also, you can see the pictures of some of your contacts because they've been connected together. Composing emails. So another part of reaching out to customers. How do you compose emails, specifically if you're trying to get your organization to use more of the Dynamics capabilities of emailing? Unfortunately, currently, the experience is very tedious. Every time you want to create a brand new email, basically there's a full page that pops up. You completely lost context about why you wanted to send that email. And then you have to send that email, go back, and remember exactly what you were doing. So the experience from a user's perspective was really not optimal. And so what we've invested in is really providing this sort of little pop-up that appears over your current experience. So now you can still get the context of the information that you were looking at while you're composing this email. So let me show you a quick preview. So this capability is in preview. So let's go now to a lead. So here I'm on the opportunity grid. And I'm going to quickly go into my activity, into my timeline, and click on send an email. So this is our timeline. And now I open the new activity, and now a new email is present. So the email comes with all the capabilities that you're used to in the previous experience. So you have your properties, you have your attachments, you have the WYSIWYG editor. So you get the information of who you're sending to with the regarding information as well. And you can even, as I mentioned, attach a file or insert a template or a signature. So all the capabilities of the email activity are present. But where it's really powerful is the fact that now you also have access to the information of the opportunity that's found behind it. So in this example, I'm just going to open the contact reconnect. And what you'll see here is that there's information that I'm missing from this current email. And the way to get this information, previously, it was actually impossible for you to do so. You probably would have had to save a draft, navigate back to CRM, back to the page you were at. But now I can just go back into the opportunity form, copy and paste it directly from there without losing context. And even so, if I wanted to see the phone number in this example is not directly on this record. So what I need to do is navigate to the actual record. Well, now I can do that, and as you see, the email is still present. So this enhanced email experience is really going to help your sellers, specifically if they're sending a lot of emails, get the information they need and not lose that context. Auto data capture. So I spoke about frictionless data capture. This is another one of those capabilities. I mean, especially if you're emailing through Outlook or Dynamics and you're CCing a lot of people are being added. So there's a lot of context and information in those emails that you want to bring back into Dynamics. And so what we're trying to do is make it frictionless for your sellers as they're working on deals to automatically pull the people that we believe are most relevant. But evidently, we're not just going to pull people and add them to a deal, and they might not have been relevant. So in the end, it's always a suggestion. It's always a recommendation. When AI is involved, it's recommended an individual, and then your seller can just quickly and easily approve and automatically add that person into the database. So let me show you an example. So here, you'll see in the sitemap, this is going to be in preview, and I'm thinking about a month. So what you'll be able to do is see these contact suggestions that are being pulled from all the communications that you're currently having. And directly selecting somebody, I can save them as a contact. And not only are they saved at the contact, but they're also related to the appropriate opportunity that they came from. Now, something that we've heard, this one is a customer feedback. So we heard from a lot of customers that qualifying leads is always the same process. Basically, you qualify a lead, it creates an opportunity, it creates an account, and it creates a contact. And not every organization wants to do that. Actually, a lot of organizations want to have control over what is being created out of the box. So in this latest release, what we're going to do is provide you the capability to actually change this default experience. So this is going to be one of those scenarios where we're going to expand more on it in tomorrow's session at 10:15. Yeah. Right? Perfect. Let's talk about deal development. OK, so in the deal development phase, really now you're working on the deal. And one thing specifically that I wanted to mention, and this is another one of those customer feedback. As you qualify a lead, so we successfully qualified a lead, but previously, while we were working that lead, we were leaving comments. We were leaving notes. And now, in the current experience, when you qualify a lead, what happens? Those notes are on the lead, but they're not on the opportunity. So somebody has to manually go in back to the opportunity, copy and paste them. So we heard that feedback again. Now when a lead is being qualified, all the notes that were originally on the lead are going to be available on the opportunity. So this, again, this is where we're working on frictionless data entry, specifically to try to remove those areas where there's duplicate work that a seller should not be doing. So here's an example where I'm on a lead, and I'm creating a meeting. Actually, I'm going to create two things. Let me create another note. And in this note, I'm going to attach attach a document. So once I've attached that document, I'm going to qualify this opportunity. And I want you to see what occurred. So now I'm on the opportunity automatically. And if you see here at the bottom, basically both of these notes were ported over and migrated from the lead to the opportunity. So again, one of these things that may seem minor, but if your job is to qualify leads and opportunities and copy it, it actually has a very big impact. So as we're working on these opportunities as well, it's important to collaborate with your team. So collaborate and communicate actually with other folks in your organization who can help you successfully close this deal. And so we've been optimizing our integration with Teams specifically over the last few releases. So previously in the last release, to be able to connect Dynamics and Teams, you had to go into Teams and create that connection. Well, now that connection is bidirectional, meaning that you can just as well create this directly from Dynamics, and from Dynamics jump into Teams. So now there's not that confusion of wondering whether or not there's a Teams channel associated to a specific opportunity. So let me show you a little bit how this works. So in this example, I'm going to start on I'm going to show you also how to pin, basically how to collaborate on a list of opportunities. So in this example, I'm going to go to a list of opportunities, and even from a list of opportunities, I can choose to collaborate on this list. So this is a scenario, maybe if you have a team of sellers and with your manager, and you want to make sure that the opportunities are made available to everybody within your organization, and you can have those discussions about these opportunities. Well, at this point now, I can easily start this process of integrating Teams, of Dynamics with Teams directly from Dynamics. So this was this example where I did that collaboration, and now when I land on Teams, I see that list of opportunities. Another example is, what if you're starting from an opportunity? So you're starting on an opportunity, and you want to know, hey, was there a collaboration already started on this opportunity or not? Well, now you'll get this collaborate command bar action. If you click on it, well, now you can start the process of getting set up. So first, you have to choose which team. So obviously, we look at the teams that you have access to. Once the team that is selected, you also have to choose which channel. So you can easily create also a new channel if your organization has mandated that every opportunity should be attached to a new channel. So again, you have that flexibility of choosing how that works. So you have to make it clear within your organization of how you're going to configure that. Then you can easily add the members. So the members are being also intelligently pulled from the opportunity itself. So if you have some sales team members, they'll be presented as suggestions so that your sellers don't have to replicate that information, and then that Teams is automatically created. So now when I go back into that same form and I click on the Collaborate in Teams, I'll see that there was a connection already made, and I can easily jump directly into the Teams interface to continue to communicate. We've also done a lot of smaller improvements that have come directly from customer feedback. So really, we've looked at the whole process and identified areas where our customers have been complaining most. So one of them has been the fact that the document tabs that hosts all of the documents related to this opportunity is sometimes, well, it's most of the times hidden into the related pane. And also, it's not obvious that the related actually has even more information there. So a lot of times, the users didn't even know where the documents were. And what we decided to do was obviously move this and basically promote it to a first-party tab. Small improvement. It has huge impact. Another thing, we've enhanced the stakeholder and sales teams grid to be a lot more user-friendly. And for those who use products within Dynamics, we also have the concept of creating product hierarchies, whereas previously it was impossible to what's called reparenting. So let's assume you had created a hierarchy, and now within your organization, you change which products are found within which area group. Well, now you have this ability of reparenting. Also, other things that we've been doing, it's not just these small improvements to the product, but also rethinking how people are interacting with Dynamics data, specifically on mobile phones. So what we've noticed is our customers have been saying that, well, when I interact on the web, it's completely different than when I'm interacting on the phone. When I'm interacting on the phone, I actually want to know what am I supposed to do, what's coming up next, what are some quick tasks that I could get accomplished. Whereas right now, the current experience is we give you, justly, the whole form, but just in a mobile view. And for certain customers of ours, for certain users, this might be too much information. So what we've been investing really is this new paradigm of interacting with Dynamics data through what we're calling our mobile assistant. And right now, our mobile assistant, I believe it's in preview.
Yeah, public.
So I think it's in preview and it will be released in about a month. Is going to be at first available in Microsoft Teams. So let me quickly show you a demo of how this new interaction paradigm will work. So here I'm in Microsoft Teams, and where you're going to find the, is it working?
Yeah, I think so.
Oops.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Sorry.
No, you need just to start again.
Can you play it? Nope. Sorry, just going to play the video. Sorry about that. We're not seeing whether or not it's playing, but it is. There we go. So the first thing is I need to pull up, basically in Teams, you have the concept of apps. You pull up the Dynamics app, and now you have this new Dynamics 365 preview that is much more personalized. The first thing it does is really pull in all of the meetings that are relevant to you. So in this case, it's pulled up about 2 meetings, but not only that, it's also pulled up all the data that it's related to within Dynamics. So in this case, it was regarding an opportunity, but if you saw there in the ellipsis, there's actually, whereas in Dynamics, it's regarding only one object, here we're able to intelligently identify the fact that it could be tied to an opportunity, a contact, and an account, and bringing that information back in. Also, when we go back now to the home page, we have this section here at the bottom end, which is more about insights, which is more about next best action. So we're going to talk a little bit more about these cards, but these are our relationship assistant cards. And these cards are proactive and intelligent, informing the seller about what to do next. And so when you have this mobile experience now that really focuses on your teams and your next best action, they can get the information that they need while they're on the go to be able to understand what it is that they should do next. Now let's move on to the deal proposal. Okay, so now that we've communicated, we've qualified this deal, we've developed this deal, I think we're getting really close to closing this deal, so I'm going to start adding some products. Again, here, customer feedback, there were some experiences that were not optimal for our customers when adding their products. And so we've done some changes so that now when you are on the opportunity or on a quote or on an order or on an invoice and you want to change the products that are associated to these customers, you'll have a much better user experience. So one of them is recent products. So if there's a product that you're consistently selling, previously you always had to search for it. If you had a long list in your price list, that was incredibly tedious. So now, when you add a product, you'll see this recent product come in that allows you to quickly choose the product that is relevant to you. The next one is what we've heard from some of our customers is previously when doing a search in the product, it was limited to a single view. Right? So you had this default view out of the box, but now you can create your own view as your organization if there's more information that you want to provide to your sellers. So directly by change view now, I'll be able to choose which view is most relevant for me as me and a seller and also as an organization to help me in finding the right product that I can sell to my potential customer. Also, every time that you are creating a new product, previously you had to save it, and then you had to re-click on the add existing opportunity, would reopen that side panel. So it was incredibly tedious. So now there is a save and create, which will allow you to quickly add multiple products when the scenario occurs. So here you see I click on the chevron, and when I click Save and Create, it basically saves the current product and automatically keeps that side pane open. And finally, another capability is product properties, if that's something that you're using. It used to be hidden into its own command bar action, but now the product properties is going to be as a first-party element of the form. So if I go to a product and I want to modify the properties, they'll be found in this new Product Properties tab, which allows me now to add any of the properties that are relevant, again, to this specific customer that I'm selling to. Now, another thing, once you've added the products and you want to sell and you want to send those products to your customer, so you want to send the quote to a customer, what you had to do was maybe download this quote or this opportunity. Well, it's very difficult to do that in Dynamics if it wasn't possible to generate a PDF out of it. So we've heard, again, we've listened to our customers, and now we have a capability out of the box for you to be able to create PDFs out of your opportunities, your quotes, your orders, and your invoices. So let me show you an example of how that works. So the first thing is to enable PDF. So you have options. So let me show you the different options. So these are all the entities that will be supported for PDF generations, from account, contact, lead, opportunity, quotes, sales order, and invoice. We're also working on opening that to custom entities, but currently these are the entities that are in scope. Once this is enabled, now when I go to a quote, let me show you how this is going to work. You'll see at the top a new Create PDF. If I click on it, and now I get a PDF version of this exact quote. And obviously, now you can download it, you can store it onto your SharePoint. You're going to ask me, what if I want to send it as an email? Well, we also have a button for that. So let's go to Email PDF, which is right next to it. If you click on it, now the email object is automatically open, and the PDF is attached to it. So it makes it super easy now to send this quote to your customers and track that data back into Dynamics. Now, finally, deal closure. So now you're ready to close this deal, and this is the last one before we move on. What we've heard from customers is, well, now I can close my deals, but I have way more fields that I want to track. I don't want to just track who the competitor is. I want to be able to track something else that is important to our business. So with the way to do this, let me show you the current experience. When you click Close as One, you only have these fields, close date, description, and you cannot customize it. And so again, we've heard that feedback, and we've made that change. And we're going to go through the details of how to enable this, but now in tomorrow's session. But now when you click Close as One, you see that I added a new field called Profit Margin. And you can add as many fields as you want, whatever field is relevant to your organization. All right.
All right, perfect. All right, so I get to talk a little bit too. Anyway, so we saw a lot of things across different features across the sales process that helps your sellers be more proactive, be better informed, and do their jobs in a better way. So now we want to take a little bit of a look at some of the capabilities that we introduced across the sales process and how we actually are allowing your organization to be more effective across all of those stages in the future. So one of the things that we first want to kind of introduce or go back to is the feedback loop. So if we think about the feedback loop of having data, building intelligence on top of it, and how do we now interpret that as being as helping us on the sales side? How can we make that actually bring to life? How do we bring that to life? So we identified 3 areas that we want to invest in. The first one is we want to see how can we measure the data. How do we actually capture some of the data? How do we bring more insights into the data just by visualizing or providing you with more information on top of what you already have in your system? Then how do we take that data to help you guide your sellers to what's the right next action? And then at the last point, okay, how do we now enable your sellers to act on it? So rather than just, okay, we now know that something's wrong, maybe we know what the best practice is, but how do we help the seller to actually follow that best practice? And so the next few slides, I'm going to talk a little bit about how these things are coming together. And some of these things we'll actually show tomorrow in more of a deep dive demos at 10:15 in a ballroom, I think 2 across over there. So let's first drill into how do we help sellers to act on some of these insights. And Daniel, that was the video that didn't quite work, talked about the assistant. So the assistant for us is a way to tell sellers, hey, this is the next best action. And they're allowed, we provide this assistant across at any point of time to your seller at any, wherever it is needed or wherever it makes sense. So there's an experience directly in Dynamics CRM. There's an experience in Teams. We showed you the new mobile experience in Teams for that. There's also existing experiences in Outlook and as well as on mobile. So basically, we provide, with the assistant, we provide sellers with the right, at the right time with the right next best action. Now, the question is, okay, well, it's great that they can act on, and we have some out-of-the-box capabilities such as, hey, there's an opportunity closing soon. How do you, you should follow up on that. So going back to our digital feedback loop, okay, we know now how we can tell our sellers to act. Now, how do we guide them to the right thing? To guide them is based on what we call the Assistant Studio. So the Assistant Studio is a place for operations or sales managers to go in and create new next best actions. And the interesting part is that it was, the interesting thing here is it's completely customizable. So you basically can use, you use Power Automate or Flow to actually create these actions. What the good thing about that is, well, since we're in Flow, you can connect to any system. So let's say you have some SQL database, there's some data being updated, I don't know, maybe your renewal dates is in some SQL database, and you want to make sure that your seller is aware of that. So you can connect through Flow to that database, create an action that then shows up in CRM. So you can kind of start connecting the different systems in one without having your seller go through different systems at the same time. All right, so we know now, okay, how do we act? How do we maybe use the data to guide them to the right best practice? Now, some of the things that we're doing in order to kind of help you understand your data better or help you to actually capture data more is through the integration or introduction of forecasting. So one of the challenge or feedback that we got was that we don't have a lot of forecasting capabilities inside of Dynamics. So we are introducing a preview right now of where you can start creating forecasts and understanding better of where you are in meeting your quota. So let's look at a quick demo. So when you look at, let's say I'm a sales manager, I can use the new forecasting capabilities to drill down to my sellers, understand where they are with their quota, and if my seller told me, hey, I'm going to make $9,000 more, I can quickly update in there. I can see how that changes the forecast for everybody in my organization. And I can even drill in what are the opportunities that might be related to this forecast. So suddenly you can start measuring your impact on what's going to happen for you. And tomorrow, yeah, we'll talk tomorrow more about how do you configure some of these forecasting capabilities as well. Another thing that we introduced in August is conversation intelligence. So if you're a inside sales team and you capture customer conversations, we allow you to kind of upload that recording. We do some analysis on top of that. Using that data, you can now start coaching your sellers, maybe, hey, talk slower to your customers or mention these competitors. So it's been a bunch of capabilities that we just ran through. Like I said, we have another session tomorrow, but here's a quick overview again of like what we saw today across different phases of our sales processes, as well as across all of them. The nice thing is all of that is actually extendable with our ecosystem. And so we mentioned we are based on top of Power Apps, and we are integrating with Power Automate or Power Flow, but we have also partnered with a lot of different sales-specific partners that help you provide more sales-specific, solve more sales-specific problems. All right, so now before we end, just a quick quick question. So who understands now more about what we do in Dynamics 365 for sales? Yay. All right, and can understand where some of the challenges you might have and think they can be better addressed with what we introduced. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. All right, anyway, so this is, we have like 30 seconds. We're still here for some questions if you want to. Otherwise, feedback, always happy. Connect to us on LinkedIn. These are like the LinkedIn QR codes if you want to. And then we all invite you to come by tomorrow at 10:15 in ballroom over there to talk about building the future of sales. We'll quickly recap what we just talked about, but we're mainly going to focus on more deeper sessions on how do you configure next best actions, how do you configure forecasting, and how can you configure some of the more specific scenarios that we just talked about. All right, thank you.
Thank you.